So milk thickeners and thickened milks don't solve reflux. They don't cure it, and in many cases they make things worse for your baby. Stay with me for the next 10 or 15 minutes and I'm going to explain the reason that they don't. And while this will be educational, the real reason that you should stick around is for the simplest of processes I'm going to tell you about at the end of this that can really, truly help your baby's reflux. Hi, I'm Anya Homer, the baby reflux lady, and over the last few years I've helped hundreds of babies and families go from being in total despair with reflux to being completely reflux free without long-term medication. And if you've just found me, congratulations and welcome. Your baby and your life might never be the same again. So what is the deal with reflux? Hey Nikki, how are you doing? Do say hello, do pop in and add comments and add your questions if you have questions about milk thickeners and anti-reflux milks. But what is the issue with them? So why, first of all, are they prescribed? Milk thickeners and anti-reflux or comfort milks that are thicker by nature, they are prescribed based on the belief that our babies can't keep milk in their stomach on their own. They are prescribed because babies are vomiting too much, and they are prescribed in order to stop the body doing what it naturally does. They're trying to make it more difficult for our babies' bodies to vomit out the milk that they have been drinking. Now, this might seem like a good idea, but let me tell you why I don't think it is a good idea. See, the ability for our bodies to regurgitate or to reflux, as we call it in babies, is completely natural. And this is where I sort of am agreeing with some of the doctors when they say reflux is normal. I say, is reflux really normal? Let me tell you, reflux that your baby is suffering with constant pain and irritation is not normal. That ongoing suffering is absolutely not normal. However, the ability to regurgitate is normal. So when we get air in our stomachs want to remove that air before it goes into our digestive system to regulate the air in our digestive system. So we regurgitate it. We reflux it. How do we do this? We do this by hiccuping. We do this by burping. So if you've ever laughed while eating, or eaten too much food too quickly, or drank a fizzy drink really, really fast, or a pint of beer really fast, the first thing that happens is a massive big burp, like a man burp. We all get them. We all know how to instigate burps in our own body. That is our bodies expelling air from our stomachs. Hiccups, it was discovered in 1921, are actually a very, very primitive, quite an effective, but a very primitive way of expelling air from the stomach as well. So a baby who hiccups all the time, that is a surefire sign that they have air in their stomach. Now, when air goes into the stomach, it stretches the stomach. Think of it like an expanded balloon, a balloon stretched to its biggest capacity. When the stomach then tries to churn, the pressure inside the stomach increases, and it's like a little explosion, and it goes poof, it pushes the acid and the regurgitation of the stomach acid and milk back into the esophagus. And this is not normal, because what we are doing is we've got too much air in baby's tummy. A thickened milk makes it more difficult for those stomach contents to come up, but equally it also means that air gets trapped within the milk itself. When that milk then goes into baby's digestive system, the bubbles of milk come back together and we get baby with bad gas problems. We see babies with constipation problems. We see babies with more groaning and irritation. While they might not be vomiting stuff anymore, they typically have a lot more digestive irritation, discomfort, restless sleeping, moaning and groaning, kicking their legs and thrashing about. So the answer is actually to resolve the amount of air they're taking on in the first place, not by thickening their milk, which adds more air into it, but to look at the original causes. Now, the milk thickeners that are on the market, there's another reason I don't like them. They're predominantly made with an ingredient called maltodextrin. Now, maltodextrin is in so many of our foods. It is a white powder, like a very fine powder, a bit like icing sugar, except it's worse than sugar. It is a sweetener. It is a thickener that continues to thicken, like its thickening abilities are beyond reason. Have you ever left your baby's bottle that has some milk thickener added into it and left it for a long period of time, like longer than baby would drink it, and see just how thick it gets? Because this gives us a problem in baby's body. As the maltodextrin passes through their digestive system, it continues to absorb fluid. It continues to remove fluid from baby's body. So we increase the risk of dehydration, and we are increasing the risk of constipation, which are the harder stools and hard patches and difficult to pass stools. So all of these have knock-on effects for our babies. The similar things happen with the starches that are in thickened milks. These can be rice starch, potato starch, corn starch, maize starch, tapioca starch. The list is almost endless. These are all, plus the maltodextrin, are also complex carbohydrates that at least half of babies don't have the natural digestive abilities to break them down at the moment. And that's completely normal. This is part of their natural development of their digestive system. They just don't have these digestive enzymes. The main one they don't have is pancreatic amylase. So what happens with these complex carbohydrates is that they ferment in the gut. And a byproduct of fermentation is carbon dioxide. So we're now putting more gas into babies' intestines, which has to move through their intestines in order to get out of their body. And this again causes the restless sleeping, the bicycling legs, the frantic kicking, the scrunching up their face and going really red, trying to move stuff out and through their gut. So if any of this is resonating with you, please let me know in the comments, and do let me know if you have any other questions as well. I will come back to them. So I don't really agree with milk thickeners as the way to solve reflux. If they have worked for your baby, then excellent. Like really, really well done. And I'd be making sure that there are no other symptoms, that your baby's able to digest these carbohydrates without a problem in order for them to be safe. But if they haven't worked, if your baby is still suffering with abdominal digestive discomfort, maybe even worse than before, then the answer with all babies with reflux lies in understanding the underlying cause. And in many of these babies, it will be, why are they drinking so much air? What are the ways we can reduce the amount of air they're taking on? And this is what I do with the Reading Your Symptoms workshop. Now, this workshop at the end of the week is going up by 750%. It is going to become the Reflux Parents Empowerment Kit. It is full. There's hours of information in there. Within the first hour, though, you are going to be brought through how to read all of your baby's symptoms. And I mean all. We're looking at over 80 symptoms and behaviours for babies for us to understand exactly what is going on for each individual child, because we read these as patterns. These make sense when we put them in as patterns. Then when we see what the underlying pattern is, we can determine if baby's drinking air, if it's a food issue, if they've got tongue ties, if they have other reasons for the reflux. And the reasons for reflux can be endless. Like, it can be gene defect, it can be crying, it can be just unsettledness, it can be ingredients in a breastfeeding mom's diet, it can be something in their milk, the formula milk that they're drinking. It can be that they have trauma from birth. It could be that there was trauma from pregnancy. It could be any amount of things. Like, the list is almost endless as to the original cause of reflux. But when we understand what that original cause of reflux is, that's where we then get the ability to work through and solve exactly what was going on. So when we understand the cause of reflux, we can take very specific action for every single child to resolve their reflux completely. I mean, imagine being completely reflux free. Imagine a baby who is happy and relaxed. Imagine having a baby who wants to sleep. And when they wake up during the night, they're waking for 2 or 3 minutes to check that mummy's there, or for a little bit of milk, and then to go back to sleep easily until 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning when it's actually get up time. All of these things are possible, and they can be possible within days. Like, the transformations we see from addressing the underlying cause are really, really quick. Now, the workshop, which becomes the Parents Empowerment Kit at the weekend, is currently £39.99. That's going to be £297 because of the amount of value and content in it. There is also workshops on reducing air intake. So if you can't figure out exactly why a baby's drinking air, but you know that they are drinking air, there's another workshop on all the things you can do to reduce air intake. I go through all the coping strategies, like there's over an hour of video about coping strategies, about what ones to pick for your baby based on what their cause of reflux is. Because raising the cot up 4 inches for a baby who has an allergy absolutely makes no scrap of difference whatsoever, because gravity just has nothing to do with allergies. So we need to understand why some of the coping strategies work and why others don't. There's also a workshop in there on winding. We have never been taught how to wind our babies unless you've had like a maternity nurse and you've been that lucky. So I've got a workshop for you with a lady who's been winding babies for 22 years, wonderful Mary Ashton, the online maternity nurse, giving us this information and tips on winding your baby, things that you may not have known before. And I've had people come back to me like minutes after watching that going, wow, I've just got my baby to do the biggest burp really easily for a baby who they believed was impossible to burp. So all of this information is in there. I'm going to pop the link in the first comment below this video. And if you do have questions, please ping me. So as I said, this workshop is £40 until the close of play, until midnight UK time on the 30th of November. Then it goes up to £297. All right. Do share this with anybody who needs to understand a bit more about milk thickeners and thickened milks. And yeah, I'll be back soon with another video. Bye bye.